What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. Game week 6 is out the way, but I know that a lot of you now are considering playing your wildcard for game week 7. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to walk you through what my wildcard team would look like if I was going to play it for game week 7. A bit of a template, a bit of a first draft for any of you guys who are considering playing your wildcard over the next week ahead of the game week 7 fixture swing that we have for a couple of teams. Now, I'm not at the moment planning on playing my wildcard. It has crossed my mind. I may play it in game week 8. I may play it later on. But for anyone who is really considering playing it this week, here is probably what I would go with and what my team would look like if I did decide to go this week. So we're going to go through it and then we'll also see how it looks in game ahead of the upcoming game week 7 deadline, who my captain would be and who I'd put on the bench, because there is a fair bit of squad depth in this team because we've seen over the past couple of weeks injuries and rotations have come out of nowhere, so we need that bit of squad depth. So let's dive straight into this game week 7 wildcard template draft. In goal, we are still going with the Brighton double up in Sanchez and Steele. Now, if Brighton win on Monday night, they have an opportunity of going top of the Premier League. Now, one of the main reasons for this is how good they've been defensively. Now, we have a chance of owning a great defensive keeper at just 4.5 million, as well as owning the backup at just 4 million. So it makes real sense to go with these. There are some other good options that are a bit more expensive, but because of how good Brighton have been defensively, I do think that going with Sanchez and Steele is still the way to go, even though their fixtures upcoming are slightly more difficult. It's worth remembering that you don't really want to ever have to make goalkeeper transfers, and so with the second wildcard only coming after Christmas and looking at the way the fixture schedule is likely to fall, we're not going to want to play our second wildcard until after game week 30. We need to be picking a keeper for the foreseeable future into the new year and beyond that, so we don't have to go using our transfers to change around our goalkeeper, which is such a waste of transfers. So just because Brighton may have a difficult few run of fixtures on the horizon now, it will get easier later on, so I do think that Sanchez is still the best goalkeeper to own. In defence, the first one we've got is Marcos Alonso. Now, it does feel that he's slowly gaining that position as first choice at left back. Now, there is a chance that Chilwell comes back into the team and he will probably get some minutes. However, 5.8 million, the Chelsea run of fixtures starting in game week 6 is just great. It's one of the main reasons that a lot of people are considering playing their wildcard this week, because of how good that Chelsea fixture run is, and then Manchester United have a slightly more difficult run to go on as well. So Alonso is the first Chelsea defender we've got. He has the most attacking threat getting up that left-hand side. He's also taking some free kicks for Chelsea as well. Because the likes of Reece James are out, Mount's out, it is falling to Alonso, which means he does have slightly more assist potential on top of the goal threat that we know and have seen from Alonso as well. Next up to add to him, so double Chelsea defence is what I've gone with on this wildcard, is Anthony Rudiger. Now, I think it's clear that Rudiger is the most nailed out of those Chelsea defenders. He's the most likely to play each and every game week out of all of those Chelsea options. So Rudiger's in there. He has had a price increase up to 5.6 million, but I still think that Chelsea defence is criminally undervalued. With their run of fixtures that they've got, there will easily be sort of 3 or 4 clean sheets in the upcoming sort of 6 game weeks. They are great defensively. They don't let the opportunity have many big chances, and it is just very good value, and I can see them ticking along the points really nicely for you over the coming weeks. Next up, we've got João Cancelo, who has risen in price to 6.1 million after he got another clean sheet and another return with an assist in game week 6. Manchester City have conceded just 1 goal so far this season coming in game week 1, and since then they have kept 5 clean sheets and just had 1 big chance against them. Cancelo seems to be playing each and every game, whether it's at left back, whether it's at right back. He has had a price increase. He's the most expensive defender out of the 3 we've got so far at 6.1 million. But with their fixture run that they have after the Liverpool game in game week 7, I think that owning at least one Manchester City defender is a really good option to have. And Cancelo having that attacking threat on top of the clean sheet potential is why I've opted for Cancelo over Diaz in this wildcard team. Next up, we have Trent. So again, we got 4 very premium defenders here. Trent, again, although the Liverpool fixtures are slightly more difficult, there is no team that I want to see that doesn't have Trent in it. The clean sheet potential for all 4 of these defenses is just great. So Alonso, Rudiger, Cancelo, Trent all have really good clean sheet potential. Probably the 3 best defenses in the league at the moment, all have the capability of keeping a clean sheet no matter who they're playing against. And then Trent, Cancelo, Alonso have that attacking threat. Trent takes corners, corners, free kicks, direct and indirect, as well as being great for bonus points as well. So 7.5 million, he still makes his way into my team, and that is the 4 big premium defenders that I'm going with. It is the return of the big at the back that I think we will see this season, and Trent is in here at 7.5 million. Now, the final option we're going to go with, now, this can be any sort of slightly cheaper defender because we don't want to be playing 5 at the back every week. I've gone with White of Arsenal at the moment. The other one that we could go with is Livramento of Southampton. It's very close between the two of them, or potentially Duffy at Brighton, but I've got Sanchez in goal, so I've gone with either White or Livramento, and I've gone with White at the moment. I just think that Arsenal's defence the past few weeks has been quite solid. 4.4 million now after a price drop makes him a really good pick. I've got good defences throughout my defence. We've got Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal. Big defences. You could go for Livramento, as I said, but White is the one I've got that will be my bench defender every week in case that Champions League rotation comes in for the likes of Alonso, Cancelo, Trent, Rudiger. Then White is the one that can come off my bench. Because Arsenal don't have any European commitments this season, he is likely to play 38 games this season if he doesn't get injured. Moving into the midfield now, the first one we've got is Sarr, who's had another price increase up to 6.2 million after having scored twice in game week 5 and scoring again in game week 6. So the Watford fixtures are starting to become slightly less appealing. However, we've seen how good Sarr has been and how reliant Watford are on Sarr. 6.2 million is still a great price for him. You can rotate him once we go throughout the rest of the team. He's a good option. He is the main talisman, the most important player in that Watford attack. He's on penalties as well for them is what we think. So 6.2 million, although the fixtures are turning, he's had those couple of nice fixtures against Norwich and against Newcastle. I still think he will tick along the points nicely, especially if we can rotate him into some of those potentially more easy fixtures. Next up, we've got Salah, who comes in at 12.5 million. So Salah consistently returns, one of the highest goal scorers so far this season, as well as picking up those assists. He's on penalties for Liverpool. He scores in games that maybe you don't expect him to. He's the most highly involved Liverpool attacker. Of course, he's going to be in my wildcard team. For me, he's the most essential of all those premium attackers. You've got Ronaldo, Lukaku, but Salah is definitely the one that I would be making sure you own if you're on a wildcard at the moment. Next up, we have got Rafinha. So I made the mistake of benching Rafinha this week and it didn't go well. He scored again. Rafinha at 6.5 million is one of the most underpriced players in FPL this season. 6.5 million for him. For a Leeds attacker generally is great, but for what Rafinha can offer is on set pieces. He's also most creative player in that Leeds team. He's just so electric and open play as well. 6.5 million. The Leeds fixture run continues for the foreseeable future as well. He's definitely the best sort of sub 7 million midfield option that you could go with. Make sure he's in your wildcard team and don't do what I did and bench him ever. Next up, the other midfield option we've got is Doucouré, who comes in at 5.6 million. So a lot of people went grey, but I do think Doucouré being that box-to-box midfielder, especially while CalvertLewin is out, is a really nice option. He gets up the pitch, he gets into attacking position, and we've seen he can score goals, he can assist goals, and at just 5.6 million, Everton have a few nice fixtures on the horizon, and so I do think he is definitely worth still considering for your FPL teams. Finally, in the midfield, we've got Douglas Luiz, who is the cheap midfield option I've gone with. Now, he's 4.5 million. Brownhill at Burnley has had a fall to 4.4 million. You could also go Sissoko. You could also go Bissouma. There are lots of options here. Luiz has probably got some of the most attacking threat along with the likes of Sissoko, which is why he's in my team. Now, with the upcoming fixtures for Aston Villa, you may not want to take up that Aston Villa spot and you may want to go with Sissoko because you're not going to want to own 3 Watford players anytime soon. But Luiz is one that I've gone with, but you could also go with Sissoko or Brownhill in this position as well. Now, moving on to the all-important strike force and who we've gone with. The first one, of course, is Mikel Antonio. Now, he continues to score points at the rate that premiums, that Salah, Lukaku, Ronaldo, Trent score points. Antonio at 7.9 million is, again, along with Rafinha, one of the most underpriced FPL assets this season. He is a captaincy option almost every game week as well. He is so important to that West Ham attack. There is no way I want to see any teams, any wildcard drafts that don't have Antonio in. Make sure he's in there. The most important attacker I think you can own this season because of his price, because of how high his ownership is now. I love him at 7.9 million. Make sure he's in your team. He's definitely in there despite some more difficult upcoming fixtures for West Ham. Now, next up, we've gone with Lukaku, who has again had a price rise in increase up to 11.7 million. The Chelsea run of fixtures from Game Week 7 is great. They've had a difficult start to the season, but they've still picked up points. Lukaku has still scored goals, and I think for the upcoming run of fixtures, he's both a great asset to own, but also a really nice captaincy option if you don't want to be going with Salah. So Lukaku is in there. I think Chelsea will continue to feed him the ball. He will continue to get goals, but also the assist potential as he feeds other players like Havertz, Werner, Moult when he comes back as well. So Lukaku at 11.7 million is the second striker we've got. And finally, we've gone with Danny Ings. So as I spoke with Douglas Luiz, the Aston Villa fixture run is actually becoming really nice. They had a really good opening 3 fixtures and then a difficult run of fixtures, which has now come to an end after Tottenham in Game Week 7, but that's not necessarily that difficult a fixture. So I've put Ings here. It could be another forward that you could go with. It could be Bamford, CalvertLewin if he's back fit. You could also go for another cheap midfielder and move Ings into that option, but I really like Ings. It could also be Watkins, but that Aston Villa fixture run changing is the key important point to go with. So this is the 15 that I've gone with. Now you can see that there are a lot of players that you could potentially play. We'll get into the team selection in a minute, but what we've done with this team is give you a lot of rotating ability. Now White and Douglas Luiz will be on your bench each and every game week. However, we have the possibility of rotating your team around it. So Sarr, Rafinha and Doucouré, you can rotate Sarr and Doucouré based on their fixture each and every week. There are others you could go with, like Gallagher, like Benrahma, but what this team does is it allows you that flexibility that you have 2 cheap midfielders in Sarr and Doucouré in this instance, and you can rotate them each and every week depending on who has the best fixture, and then it allows you to have that strong option first on your bench each and every game week. So if we look at how I'd probably line up for Game Week 7, this is how I would look. I have got Cancelo, Doucouré and Douglas Luiz on the bench for us this week. So Doucouré has Manchester United and Cancelo has Liverpool. So what we've done is we've played White because he has Brighton this week. Sanchez, of course, starts in goal. Double Chelsea defence at home to Southampton. Trent in there as well. And then into the midfield, what I mean by the Doucouré-Sarr rotation is we can play Sarr this week as he has a good fixture away at Leeds who look not very strong defensively. Rafinha is in there again. Watford at home for them, which is really nice. And Salah, of course, starts every week. And then up front, you will have the 3 starting every week, which is Ings, the penalty taker, one of the main goal threats in Aston Villa. And their fixture run from Game Week 7 onwards is really nice. Lukaku, who comes in replace of Ronaldo, so no Ronaldo in this wildcard team, but Lukaku is in there and will probably be the captaincy option for this team for Game Week 7, and Antonio. But as we said, there's a lot of good rotation from Game Week 7 onwards, or Game Week 8 and after. You can bring Cancelo in, so you'd have a defence of Alonso, Rudiger, Trent, Cancelo. Doucouré can rotate with Sarr, but this team is set up for the long run. It allows you that rotation. It has a big at the back structure because there was a lot of points in defence this season, but that is my Game Week 7 wildcard template for you all. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you found it useful. If you have, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. There is so much useful videos like this and live streams coming between now, at the end of the game week, but also every game week throughout now and the start of the season. So if you have enjoyed, please do like and subscribe, and I will see you all very soon.